Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk to you guys about 3 things that I learned from reading the book Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Now, I touched on one aspect of this book about a couple months ago when I first read it, but I think there's a couple more things that are very important that I think I should talk about, that you guys should know about. And so the 3 things, I'm going to repeat myself for the first one from about a month and a half or a couple months ago when I talked about it. But the other 2 things that I'm going to mention are new that I haven't talked about yet. So the first thing, of course, right, that Napoleon Hill talks about in Outwitting the Devil is, or the devil rather, he speaks about semen retention. Retaining the sexual fluids, right? So the whole premise of this book really is mental, clarity of mind, and how the devil, the negative force of the universe, whatever you want to call it, its main goal, right? Its main goal is to clog your mind, clutter your mind, and make it cloudy so it's not clear, right? And so the first main way the devil does that is through mainly sexual addiction, drug addiction, right? These types of things that block your mind from, accessing, information, right? Or just, clouding your mind with all sorts of fog, right? Like when you smoke weed, right? For instance, you feel kind of like foggy. You're kind of like, you're just, you're in a state of kind of like a zombie, right? And when you release the sexual fluids, how do you feel? You feel achy. You feel tired. You feel like you can't think straight. You get anxious, right? So these things right here are one of the main ways that the negative force of the universe traps people and keeps them stuck so they can't get to higher levels of development, right? And so that's number 1. Number 2, now this one is going to shock a lot of you guys, but it shouldn't shock some of you guys who have been watching me or watching other people for a while. The school system, right? The industrial age school system that we all have been a part of and still take part in, some of you guys today, myself included. So the reason why school, according to the devil, is designed to trap humans and keep them stuck is because what it does is it fills the mind, the human mind, with information that is not useful. It deliberately says in the book, and I'm not going to quote it, but I'll kind of paraphrase it, I guess, that the main goal of the reason why the devil created education was to brainwash humans to not be able to think for themselves, to just follow the orders, right? Do what you're told. Don't think outside the box. If you do what you're told, you'll get a good job, right? These sorts of things, right? And so not only does school teach you kind of just to follow along, but it also, the information being presented isn't aligned with higher values, like building a business, being financially independent, being healthy, having healthy relationships, right? These sorts of things that are natural and essential for humans to live a good life. So basically, that's really where education comes in for number 2, right? So number 3, what do we have for number 3? What was it? Oh, nutrition. Here it is. So in the book, it also talks about, food, the food industry, right? It talks about how if the devil, right, he designed the food industry to keep people, heavy, right? The food, right? They want to keep people addicted to these heavy foods like corn, wheat, soy, bread, right? Like all these processed foods, right? And the main goal is for the devil, right, in the devil's eyes, is to keep people addicted to these and keep them heavy so they can't think, so they're not light, right? Think about when you eat a big meal, right? You feel heavy, right? It's hard to think, you're tired, you just feel like so like drained after eating it, and you just want to lay down, right? So if you're feeling like that all the time, right, and you're eating 3 to 5 times a day, how are you gonna think outside the box? How are you gonna have the mental capacity to do, work that no one else is gonna do, right? So those are the three things that I think are extremely important for us to take from that book. And guys, if you haven't read the book, I honestly, and I'm saying this to be quite honest, I think this is one of the best personal development books I've ever read. It's definitely something that everyone should read, especially if you're a beginner into this. But anyways, aside from that, yeah, so basically, to summarize these three things, the main goal for the negative force of the universe is to keep people from accessing clarity. Because if you're, right, listen, if you're drugged up on porn, on weed, and you're eating shitty food, and you're going to school, and on top of that, you're going to work maybe, how the hell are you going to be able to grow yourself? How are you going to be able to get ideas for a business? How are you going to be, how are you going to be happy in a relationship? How are you going to be able to provide for your family? Right? You're not. There's just no way. If you're tired all the time, if you can't go to work, if you're just like lazy all the time, you're screwed. And that's precisely what the negative entity wants. Right? Call it Satan, call it whatever, Lucifer, whatever. There's definitely a negative force in the polarity of this universe, the duality of this universe, that wants to keep human beings stuck. Right? So basically, those are the three things that I think are the most important, aspects of this book. If you haven't read it, go read it. But yeah, that kind of ends this video right here. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or anything about the book or anything in general, leave them down below, and I will do my best to get back to you. And as always, I hope you guys have a good day. Peace.